These are your superpowers, positive character strengths. You have them, all of them, some more than others.
What we are best suited to do in our lives connects with who we are and our character strengths.
Standing up strong, activating your superpowers is how you can change the world.
And you're pioneering the future of humanity.
Let's start right now. I'm Jackie Congedo. What are the labels that have been put on you over the course of your life? Do they fit you or do they feel heavy? What if you could just take them off? In this episode, we're sitting down with Lea Lachey. She and her husband Drew are using their strengths of creativity and perseverance and many more to develop and produce a musical called Labelless. It's about the labels we put on ourselves and each other and the humanity that can be revealed when we look past them and truly connect. So it is so exciting to be joined by the Lea Lachey.
Oh, thank you.
Of Lachey Arts and of our wonderful city.
Yeah.
Who this has really been a passion project for you and for Drew.
Absolutely.
I'm wondering, before we get into sort of the nitty gritty, I want you to just take me back to the very beginning of how this whole thing started.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we were living in Los Angeles and we decided that we wanted to raise our family here, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the whole Cincinnati thing, right? People joke that it sucks you back. It felt right. We wanted to be around family and just really build a really great community around our kids. Mm-hmm. The dream was to give back in some way to young artists. We started our nonprofit, Lachey Arts. And I'd say about 3 years in, after creating different shows, we did a simple theater exercise in a class. And it was about maybe how you weren't feeling seen or how you were feeling discriminated against. We had the students write down anonymously on pieces of paper. We didn't know who said what. The story goes, we went home that night, we spread them out on the counter, cried. And it was very apparent that there were things going on in our students' lives, right? So now we're personally connected to that. And the show was born, but it happened organically and naturally. Never did we set out to, we're going to build a musical tonight.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't that at all. And so it's been, I can't believe I'm saying this, 7 years. Oh my gosh. 7 years. What a passion project. We jokingly call it our third child. I love it. I think it's changing hearts and minds. And there's no better way, right, in creating art where people are like getting up out of the theater.
Yeah.
And they're moved. And I would like to think that maybe they're becoming better people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's an incredibly immersive experience. Taking a walk. It's one of the songs.
Yes.
Taking a walk in someone else's shoes.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have been able to sort of cast this for the past 7 years with people who actually have had these experiences or who have had these labels projected on them.
Right.
That it's an authentic experience for the people who are singing and acting.
Absolutely.
I mean, acting. They are acting, but they're acting their own stories, which is really powerful. How have you been able to navigate, keeping that authenticity at the heart of the production?
Well, I think that these young artists are gravitating towards Labelless. They want to be a part of it because it's something new and unique, right? So yes, they are performing and they have to obviously be trained and they're professional performers. But at the same time, they're brave. Yeah. They're so brave. And to kind of explain it a little better, we call them, now they're monologues, right? But they started with just simple stories. And so with each cast member that comes in, there is a slight tweak to that monologue. For instance, sexism. When someone new comes in, they might have a new story to tell that they want to share. So it slightly changes. And then I think that that's where you really see, an honest connection with the artist.
Yeah.
And that's why the audience is so moved, because that performer is on stage really telling their story.
Yeah. And it comes across, just the authenticity of
Yeah.
in the whole thing. You have the authenticity of the stories, but the way the music, I think the original pieces, but also some of the covers that you guys do, the way they're performed, the way you can just tell that it's like living within the people who are singing these songs. And the choreography, which is so, I mean, that was probably the first thing I mentioned after I was
super proud of that.
Fortunate enough to get a little sneak peek behind the scenes. But watching how, organic the choreography is, but it's seamless, and it's like,
thank you.
Everyone's totally on. There is a very deliberate, intentional move towards looking like it's not intentional.
Yes, and I love that you're bringing that up, because I think some people just think like, oh yeah, when you're just walking, and each breath is thought out.
Yeah.
Each touch, each grab, each movement of the scaffolding, which we do, a lot of movement with those pieces within the show. But to me, movement is storytelling too, and choreography. And so I wanted it to have a pedestrian feel, but at the same time break out and do these beautiful, technical things. Yeah. Super proud of it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. So back at the beginning, as you're looking at these stories and saying like, oh my gosh, this has to be told. And I love the art form. I mean, I'm a little biased. I'm a musical theater nerd. Like I
love that.
I think that when you put somebody in a black box and immerse them in an experience, like they can't help but come away feeling changed in some way. It's all of the things. It's that art form that just surrounds you and gets in you, and you can't get it out once it's in you.
Right.
So, forcing people really actually to confront someone else's humanity in such an immersive way. Yeah. So as you're looking at these stories and you're trying to figure out, okay, what do we do with this? I'm wondering, like, even before that, what prompted you to ask the question? Like, these labels, right, that we have for each other or for ourselves. I mean, have you ever felt that on you? Have you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, like, how do you...
As a woman in this industry, 100%. I've been in many rooms where I feel like I maybe have to fight my way to the top, right? I'm sure you felt that too. Where it's, maybe you should listen to me. I mean, I know what I'm doing, right? So I get that. One of those pieces of paper that immediately, and I remember where I was standing in the kitchen, was about this young girl. Again, I don't know who said what, where the uncle said, well, you'll never do that, and you'll never be anything because your place is in the kitchen. And so for me, I when I read that, I thought, my God, what year are we in? Right. Right? And so you think that those things go away, and they don't. Yeah. And so, I don't know what prompted us to ask that question that day in that class. Something moved us. I'm glad we listened to it. I'm glad that we listened to our voice, right? That voice deep down. And I'm also really glad that I wanted to, and I'm going to say I, because Drew goes, well, Lea did it. But
you would agree.
Credit where credit's due. I wanted to dig into that. There was something told me there's something here. And so it just started as like, literally, it just started as like, let's play with this song. It was a Mumford & Sons song that opened the show. And then it built, and then all of a sudden more people start gravitating towards it. And all of a sudden, it was set in a high school setting at first. And when you have students that are peeking into the door in the rehearsal room and kind of going, what is this? Wait a minute, I think I want to be part of this. You're onto something. And then it's evolved, right? And so now the cast is 17 to 27-year-olds.
So this was at SCPA, right?
Yes. Originally? So we were teaching a class at SCPA. We ran the musical theater program for 10 years there. And so it was born and bred here in Cincinnati. The next show we did was the OTR Film Fest. And that's sold out very quickly. And that then, you've got this whole different generations of people in the audience that are connected to the piece. So now, as a director and a producer, you start to watch that and you go, okay, it's not just kids.
Yeah, right.
Now we've got parents and grandparents and neighbors, and we were bombarded with emails and calls. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to keep working on this. And then it just snowballs, right? And then you're putting it in New York. We've been in New York twice now, which is
That's not nothing.
It's not nothing. It's super exciting.
Yeah.
I think the thing ultimately right now that I'm the most proud of is the fact that we're creating something new and different.
Yeah.
You know, with the goal being Broadway and the West End.
Yeah.
We've added that to the list.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's, hey, man, I want people to look at this later and go, oh, you mean like Labelist?
Yeah.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to do that kind of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's trailblazing work.
I
And, you know,
mean, I'm
women
trying.
are pretty good at that. We know
I
a
don't
thing or
take
two
no
about
for an answer.
trailblazing. Yeah, no, that is true, and it's one of the best things in the short time I've known you about you, I think.
Oh.
I'm wondering also, you know, is there a piece of feedback you've gotten from the show that has caused you to pivot or caused you to think differently? I mean, you know, we all love a standing ovation.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I think with this work, it's the people who aren't standing and clapping who most need to hear it and see it. And so, you know, trying to like walk the line where you want to hold to the authenticity of the stories, but you're trying to reach someone that's not the choir. And how do we bring them in a way that's challenging and immersive, but like welcoming and safe for people to go on their own journey of learning and kind of move them along.
Right.
I mean, have you wrestled with that at all, or have
Oh my
you?
God. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Oh yeah. From the very beginning, I'll probably jump all over the place, but you know, we made a choice at the very beginning to not talk about religion or politics. It was just really important to us, and it's really just about human stories. I, you know, kind of feel like it shouldn't really be political when you're getting up and telling your story. I mean, I would say from the very beginning, people start to get a little fearful of things that they are not educated in, right? I would be lying if I sat here and said that I did not have phone calls with people that have asked me to take certain sections out of the show. So I do think that you have to be very strong and bold. And I have said point blank to people, I know what you're asking, and you're asking me to take out racism and homophobia. And I won't do that because that's erasing someone's story.
Yeah.
Not going to do it. And I also think you're right. I think the people that you really want to touch with that message, because yes, it's lovely. The choreography and people are standing and they're blown away by the talent and the music.
The talent is breathtaking.
They're amazing. Right?
Yeah.
They're so amazing.
It's really, I don't know where you find these kids, but they
all
are.
over the world now. All over the world. It's incredible. But yes, if we're being honest, those people that sit there and are super quiet, when you can hear a pin drop, I won't name the state that we were in. It was very eye-opening as creators and from the cast perspective of, you know, when you can, there's a silence in the theater. It's hard to not take that personally. Like, are we doing something wrong? But then you're like, well, we're not doing anything wrong. This is what this is.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I like to think sometimes when people are sitting there and they're quiet, hopefully they're really thinking about it.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the most, that I think is the most powerful outcome.
Yeah,
is when
I
you
agree.
can have people who aren't just, well, I don't want to say that because I think there is something to say about seeing your story told by someone else on stage and feeling like that is how I felt.
Oh.
That makes me feel seen. And that's, you know, we've all had that experience in watching art.
Yes.
You know, experiencing it in some way, whether that's theater or visual art or, you know, music, to say, wow, they really nailed that. I mean, think about like the phenomenon of Taylor Swift. Why is Taylor Swift who she is?
Right.
It's because she's spoken to now generations of people who feel seen in her music.
Yep.
And so, you know, I think it's, I don't want to understate that. I think it is really important when you have people standing up and clapping and saying,
absolutely.
that's me and you nailed it. And the opportunity is to say, can we help other people who don't have those experiences, who don't have that, those encounters every day, understand a little bit better that there are people walking around living these lives.
Yes.
And living this humanity.
Yes. And I think the beautiful thing in that is, right, like the flip side of that quiet and that uneasy, unsettling vibe that sometimes is in the theater are the people that are just sometimes grabbing the cast and hugging, you know, to the point where I have never felt so seen. And so you're right. I mean, and you know, Labeless is bringing out people that are not the traditional theater goer too.
Yeah.
Super proud of
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. That's just giving people the opportunity to experience the power of the arts is really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So we were talking about feeling seen, and I think that's probably a good place to pivot to the intersection of our work. Mm-hmm. So maybe I'm going to jump off the feeling seen and then I'm going to circle back. We at the Holocaust Humanity Center it reminded me of, we have these youth leadership days where we bring in teenagers, and we do a lot of work. There's Holocaust education, of course, but there's also a lot of character development and sort of strengths work that we do. Positive psychology strength, not necessarily weightlifting, although that would be kind of cool too.
That would be cool. We could maybe do that.
Positive psychology. We could maybe do that. Positive psychology work. And one of the exercises is strength spotting. And so what we do is we give the kids a stack of cards, and it says, I notice the strength of X in X.
Oh,
and
wow.
you are supposed to fill out one of the 24 character strengths.
Wow.
And whoever you see exhibiting that, and give it to them. And you have to give out all 5 by the time the day's over.
Wow.
And it seems like the most simple thing, but the feedback we get from this activity, I mean, there's this one on like a little written feedback form, a question that was open-ended, like, is there something that, you know, was really meaningful for you about this day? And this one in her high school handwriting wrote, I've never felt so seen.
Whoa. There it is.
Right?
There it is. Yeah.
So, and, you know, I think in following up with her, she had said, people kept giving me, I've seen the strength of humor in you. And I'm like, I'm not a funny person, but apparently people think I'm funny.
They think I'm funny.
Which is like, and then we've had other kids say, there was this other girl who had this amazing experience where their school had asked her to give their like senior address to the class, and she was like, that's not me, I can't do that. And so then there was this experience, she came with her class, she got all of these cards that said, I saw the strength of leadership in you.
Wow.
And after that, she went back to her teacher and said, I think I actually want to do this because people see that I have this strength. I don't see it in myself though.
Yeah.
So anyway, feeling seen is something that really resonates. Okay, and now I'm going to say that for a long time, I feel like people have been telling you about us and us about you.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So Labelist and Holocaust and Humanity Center have been in concentric circles for a while. And when we met, and I got to see what you all have produced, and then, you know, you brought the cast down for a tour, which was so special.
So special.
Incredible. I think it was really clear that like there's a lot of synergy and connection here.
Yes.
I'm wondering, in your words, if you can share a little bit about like what that has been like for you, or where you noticed there to be this connection in our work.
Well, immediately when I met you, clearly we hit it off, right? And I feel like you got what we were doing.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks volumes, because I think there's a lot of people that, oh, coolest show, fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The songs are pretty.
They're so pretty. So you really understood that there was more than just a show.
Yeah.
So that, you know, right off the bat. But bringing the cast down that day, I mean, I can't tell you how many times. Well, first of all, lots of tears.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets me choked up now thinking about it. It was such a special moment for us. We don't take what we do lightly. And I think that sitting there that day and listening, and the wording too, so very similar. The shoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That whole time when we were sitting there after and having lunch, and you know, the regroup of what did we see. I mean, as I walked through the museum and I would pass different cast members, everyone would say, oh my God, well, you have to go read this, because that's like what we say, you know? And so I think it's really important. And I think it's important, especially right now in this world, right? To listen to each other.
Yeah, and just to recognize that we're all human beings.
Yeah.
And the minute we start seeing people as less than human, or we start like dismissing experiences as less than authentically human,
Right.
that's a slippery slope, and it's a dangerous territory.
Yeah.
I was thinking back about that this morning, about that debrief. So for folks who are listening, we the cast came down. we did sort of a guided tour, and then we had lunch, and we got to talk a little bit about your work and our work and how where the intersections are, and the things that came out of this cast. I mean, I forget who it was who said, it's, even though this is my story, I get up and I do it so often that I can, you get into kind of a rut of just,
Absolutely.
I go and I sing the song. And also there's probably a little bit of a distance you have to sort of keep in order to maintain like your composure, telling your own painful journey.
We talk about that all the time. And in this last phase in particular, as this builds and grows and gets bigger and bigger and bigger, right?
Yeah.
We have more fans, and I need them to protect themselves as well, right?
Yeah.
And so we say quite often now, like, you almost have to kind of play a character at times because it's so close to your heart.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a lot.
Yeah. There's some preservation there for sure.
Yeah.
But he said, after being in this space, I realized like I owe it to, all the people who don't get to tell their stories.
Yeah.
That I'm up there. I'm up there doing it more. It's more than just about for me. And I think that really is one of the powerful aspects of the museum, is this idea that, and it's what our survivors, it was what charged them to build this, is that, we need to learn from this, but also we're the ones who are responsible for telling this story for the 6 million people who can't tell it.
Right.
And so, all of the kids you work with who are getting up on stage, finding the courage to show that vulnerability and just douse people in their humanity in a way that's so personal. The fact that they're doing it, not just for themselves, but for all the people who have those experiences and live those lives every day, who aren't able to say it or who don't have a stage to, to project it from.
I left that day feeling, I cried several times, but I felt so empowered. The day-to-day can be grueling in the sense of, there are a lot of no's.
Yeah.
A lot of doors that are slammed, a lot of, that show's not really. I left that day going, I can lead and I can be stronger because it's important for people to hear these stories.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Oh my gosh. It was a real privilege and an outstanding cast, at least. Well, I'm sure they're all outstanding. I would tell you that the best cast was the one that we saw,
that you saw
in Cincinnati the last time it was produced. And just, not only wildly talented, but just incredibly thoughtful and great people. So that's really exciting. Okay, tell me about the future. What does the future look like for Labelists? I know you're sort of like navigating. Well, and the fact that like the beauty of this show is that it is organic. It's like you're not trying necessarily. I mean, you have some aspirations, but you're not trying to like chart a certain path.
Right.
You're trying to move the work where it's needed and where it calls to you. So what's, started in Cincinnati, toured some in regional theater, went to New York a few times.
Yep.
What are you thinking in terms of what's next?
I mean, I think for me, touring probably is where this show lives the best, right? It's where you're going to have the most impact across the country, across the world. Yeah. I would be lying if I said I didn't want to sit down in New York.
And you know what? If people from New York are begging me, I'll take the meeting. I'll take the meeting.
Bring everyone. So New York, and we've had a lot of conversations lately about London.
Yeah.
And how it could maybe have a life there for a few months, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think that it just can live in so many places. It's been in a black box space. We converted a warehouse. It's been in proscenium theaters. And so I think the beauty...
High schools, right?
High schools.
Gyms, yeah.
Yeah, everywhere. But I think the beauty in it is that we can kind of fit it into different sized venues.
Yeah.
It can be outside. It can be a concert. It can be, we've done that now too. Acoustic sets in New York.
Wow. Yeah.
Where we're really talking about the storytelling and the songwriting. I think it probably has a life somewhere as a documentary or a film.
Yeah. I can see that.
So I think all of that is super, super exciting. And I think I don't want to do the norm with it. I don't, and I think that so many people know about it now that we're sitting in a really exciting place where it's like, ooh, what's going to happen next? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, I am so glad you all are anchored in Cincinnati, because I know that this show will continue to live here in so many ways, and we'll be back. And for those people out there who have not seen this, you must make a point to see it. It is a really incredibly powerful expression of humanity and of, I can't believe I've gone this whole episode without saying the word upstander once, but of upstanders. I think in the initial email I wrote you guys, I was like, we certainly need less labels and more upstanders.
Yeah.
And that is, I think about in the museum, in the mural, right, as you walk in, there's the story of Al Miller watching Jesse Owens win the gold.
That story.
Yeah.
That story.
I know. Right. In 1936 Berlin at the Olympics, this is Hitler's Germany. You've got a young Jewish boy who's lived in Berlin for generations with his family. Well, his family's lived in Berlin for generations. And he's watching this moment that we all read about in history books. And we use the example of Jesse running that day, who, by the way, ran because they were supposed to run, actually, a Jewish athlete from Hughes High School. High School, Sam Stoller.
The story is wild.
And they couldn't, because that's offensive. That would, they were afraid that would be offensive to the Germans, the American athletes, to run a Jewish athlete in the middle of, Hitler's Germany. So instead they ran a black athlete, which doesn't seem like it's probably a whole lot better received. In fact, we know that it wasn't. Hitler left the stadium rather than acknowledge that he'd won. But regardless, the idea of acts of upstanding. We think about, people who saved lives, and yes, incredible courage and upstander behavior, but also just the more nuanced moments of existing and insisting on your own humanity in a place where you are dehumanized, in a place where other people want to put labels on you, want to see you as something less than human, just that you are there projecting your own humanity. That is upstanding.
Yeah.
That's upstanding.
Yeah.
So the fact that theaters after theaters after theaters of people are witnessing people saying, this is who I am. This is my lived experience. And I think it's a show about upstanders, really.
I love that.
So
I love that.
Thank you for all that you do. Anything else you want to share? This is a reporter in me can't help but ask that question before we wrap, because I'm like, I just don't want you to be left with any burning, urgent pieces.
I think for me right now, it's about just look people in each other's eyes. Yeah. Try to understand each other, where you're coming from. I think, right now in this world, we're so quick to kind of, turn away, not have a conversation with someone that maybe looks different, sounds different. So I would encourage people to maybe, go try something new. Start up a conversation with someone. You're going to learn so many things. A little bit more empathy goes a long way, I think.
So true.
Open up your heart.
So true.
Yeah.
I think that's a good last word. Leah, thank you for coming
Thank you.
have a wonderful conversation with us today. And go see Labelist, the next place it's performed. You will not be sorry that you did.
Thank you.
Our thanks to the Marison Family Foundation and the VIA Institute on Character for supporting this series. We have a link in the show notes so you can take your own free character strengths survey and learn more about your strengths. We'd love to hear about your experiences with character strengths and how you're using them to stand up. You can reach us anytime by email, and you can listen anytime on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or visit holocaustandhumanity.org/podcast. You can also connect with us on Instagram and TikTok at Holocaust and Humanity, and X and Facebook at CincyHHC. The Upstander Ripple Effect is a production of the Nancy and David Wolf Holocaust and Humanity Center. This series is part of the Cynthia and Harold Gutman Family Center for Storytelling. Visit us in person at Historic Union Terminal in Cincinnati, Ohio, or online at holocaustandhumanity.org. Managing producer is Ann Thompson. Consulting producer is Joyce Kamen. Technical producer is Robert Mills. Technical director is Josh Emerson. Opening sequence is by Ken Furman. Select music is by Kik Lee. And this is recorded at Technical Consulting Partner Studios in Cincinnati, Ohio.